Okay, let's just close all our eyes and bow our heads and pray. Dear Lord, we thank you that we are able to share our testimonies. We thank you that we are able to encourage each other during this lockdown time. Thank you for this very unique technological advancement of Zoom and the internet, whereby we can all make contact, although we are all isolated in our homes or wherever we are. This evening, we want to pray specifically for Jerome. You have chosen him, you've kept him safe, you've kept him in your arms, although he was a hard-headed youngster, wanted to run away. You and with the prayers of his wife brought him back. Lord, we thank you for his years of service. We thank you for his example. We thank you for his testimony. And we look forward what the mission has to bring us tonight. We pray for Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
It's all yours, Jerome.
Okay, good. Frank, I want to show some pics as well. Is that okay?
If there's any problem, old Louis is there to help you.
Okay, good.
I love it. We use the younger ones to help us sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Just give us a minute, Frank.
Yeah.
Is it coming up? Yeah.
Is there a pic? Is there a pic up there, Frank?
There should be a pic.
Full picture, no problem.
Yeah.
A picture of Uncle Joe Naidu.
Yeah, sure. Okay, good. Yeah, let's go back. Good. Okay, thank you. All right, Frank and everybody, thanks for coming and listening to us. We know that God is good and that He's gracious towards us. And I think what's important is that we need to continue to trust and have faith in God. Yeah, if you don't mind. Sorry, just hang in there for us, please, man. Okay. Okay, Frank, are you going to interject if we're not coming through clear, or can you hear us?
I can hear you perfectly, Jerome.
Okay,
no
good.
problems.
Thank you. Okay. So I want to share some experiences, and I want to share about God's guidance in our lives. So a couple of years back, I was introduced to a branch of the church called ASI. And I was really taken back by it because I thought that, when I retire, this is something I'd like to do. I'm a pipe fitter welder by trade. So I work a lot with my hands. Fortunate enough to move up in the ranks from a foreman to a supervisor to a contracts manager. And then eventually started my own business for the last 26 years. Difficult, hard business, very demanding. But the Lord has been good, even in this period of lockdown. But I thought I want to share this testimony, as well as this experience that we've had down in the Maluti project. But I wrote a couple of, I researched a couple of pointers that I'd like to just share with everybody. Because everything that I think we discuss, and what I've realized is that God is often used as a definition of faith. So you can't have God without faith. So if you talk about God, you need, and if you're a God-fearing individual, then you must have faith. And of course, for Adventists, when we look at Hebrews 11 verses 1, we kind of know it off by heart. But I just want to go a little bit deeper, because what I want to share with you, you need to just keep in the back of your minds, because as I go through the experiences that we've had down on this project in Maluti, you'll actually see a couple of lines that you are going to have to dot or accept or grasp, because I believe that as Christians, we cannot living in the model in which we continue living. You know, as Christians, we cannot go to church with church members and know that church members are sleeping or their houses have broken windows. I don't think that the church or church members will get rid of poverty in their community, but we need to make a serious attempt to try and clean up the act. And if we can't get it into the community, then at least amongst our church brothers and sisters. So we can't just go to church and just keep on going to church without changing our mindset. Because what I found out is that faith without works cannot be called faith. So really and truly speaking, you cannot serve God if you don't have faith. Faith without works is dead. And faith that is dead is worse than having no faith. But faith must work. And so we cannot be Christians and retire or be retired. We cannot be Christians and we don't produce. We cannot say we have faith and we have no vision. Verbal faith is not enough, and mental faith is insufficient. Faith must be there, but it must be more. It must inspire action. So, you know, wherever you are in your family, wherever you are in your church, when you look at what are the principles and what are the guidelines for being a Christian, then some of these things need to get us going. Faith endures trials. Faith comes and sometimes goes. Not faith, trials. So faith endures trials. Trials comes and trials goes. But strong faith will face them head on and develop endurance. This is faith when one looks at trials. And there's lots of us that are going through trials right now, especially with COVID, especially with shortage of money, with the shortage of opportunity. But they come and they go, just like night comes and then day comes. Faith endures trials. Faith obeys the word of God. Darkness has its time, but eventually the light comes. Faith harbors no prejudice. Faith displays itself in works. And somehow the other, for me, the only way as an artisan, the only way that I can really describe faith, it's works. Faith is more than just words. It's more than knowledge. It is a demonstration of obedience. Faith also controls our tongue. Faith can do it because faith even acts wisely. Faith gives us the ability to choose, and we need to choose wisdom that is heavenly. And then we need to shun wisdom that is earthly. Faith produces separation from the world and our submission to God. It provides us with the ability to resist the devil and humbly draw near to God. This is faith. And then finally, faith waits patiently for the coming of the Lord. And so while we're waiting for the coming of the Lord, I'm saying we need to work. And I'm saying that it's not okay to go to prayer meeting and go to church, and then next week go to prayer meeting and the following week go to church. I think faith enables us to do things every single day, all the time. All the time. I want to show you, and I want to share with you what a pastor of ours shared with us. So we had engaged with Pastor Solomon's, and in our discussions with Pastor Solomon's, there was a great need in the Lesotho hospital in Maluti. And the government of Lesotho, some of the other, was pulling funds away from the hospital. And so the place was almost in disrepair. And the church needed to do something. So there was a call, and I spoke to Pastor Solomon's, and he then decided, okay, why don't we get a posse together of individuals and go have a look at what the hospital needs were. I was excited to get involved with this. So what we done, we decided to send this brother Joe Govender down to go and assess some of the problems in the Maluti hospital. I had then my eldest son married, my two other sons and my daughter weren't married. So the plan and the plot was for us to go down during the Easter weekend and do some renovations at the Maluti hospital. My children, we always spent holidays together, and my children thought this was kind of bizarre. And they decided, no, they're not going to go with us. This is just something really crazy. So Brother Joe and his wife Salome went down to Maluti. And this is the gathering of us outside the Maluti hospital. This is the entrance to the hospital. And this is the group of volunteers that came from just about nearly every church in the Port Natal area. We are getting a slight brief by the CEO of the hospital, Dr. Palumo. But what we done is when Joe went down and done an assessment, he came back and told us of the demands and the needs. The hospital was making good money because they were training nurses. So that was a revenue stream that was good, but they were limited in their space. So they needed classrooms built. The laundry was dilapidated and was in disrepair, so that needed to happen. And so with all that said, we then decided here in Durban, with the support of the conference office and the support of Pastor Solomon's, that was new in our conference as the executive secretary. So we went out and solicited some of the church for support and some funds. We got some businessmen to come along and support us as well. And then we prepared to actually venture to Lesotho. So this was the list that Joe came back with. He took photos, and we here in Durban then had to prepare. So the roof needed repairs. So if you have the roof that had water coming through, that means it damaged the ceiling. Not only did it damage the ceilings, there was water stains all over the walls, and even on the floor, the tiles that were on the floor were lifting. So we had to repair the roof, we had to repair the ceilings, we had to obviously paint the building, we had to renovate the laundry as well as extend it. We had to build 2 classrooms if we could. And so we had to upgrade the geysers, more water, as well as the plumbing and pipes. There was a tractor on the property that needed repairs. And so we sent out some information, and fortunately enough, in answer to prayer, there was great response. Not only that, we also spoke to bricklayers and plasterers and builders and tried to get as many artisans on as well. And we then decided to prepare. In my workshop, I prepared some of this. You'll see in some of the slides, I've done most of the metal work. We got our buses all organized and ready to go. And then we decided that we need to make our trip down. But the first picture that I showed you was Brother Joe Govender. And in our discussions, he said to him that his cousin is a chemist, an Indian guy, and he has a paint factory. So he said, why don't we go over there with some of these photos and ask him to, organize us some paint. I thought that was a bright idea. So we went over to this guy's office. And when I walked into his office, the first thing I done was step back. As I looked on his desk, he had Tamil or Indian or Hindu gods I think he had a couple of candles burning on his table. And I was really taken back because, some of the other, us Christians, we believe we know it all. And he sat down across us, and me and Joe sat opposite him, and we began to chat. And then he started sharing a story of one of his drivers that got caught in the rain of the previous nights. And his van went off the road, and he lost the van and paint. And so I thought, okay, there's a long story. This guy got nothing to offer us. And yeah. So he gave us this whole long story. And then he said, hey, come on, guys. It's getting late. The paint that I have for you, for the donation for the hospital, is downstairs. It is a nice cream color paint. And I'd love to support what you guys are doing. I had a lump in my throat. I had to hold back tears from my eyes because there I was judging this man. And this man, prematurely judging him and thinking that he's a shark, he was preparing to tell us some kind of stories and send us on our way. We left there with maybe a half a ton load of paint that the gentleman donated. Beautiful, beautiful paint. He gave us paint for the ceilings. He gave us paint for the floors. He gave us paint for the walls. We didn't have to buy one drop of paint. I think when we left there, we left a couple of drums of 5-liter paint, and you'll see the colors of the walls that we painted. We eventually got ourselves together. I can't believe it. We got support from quite a few churches for this particular effort. I think it was the Mayville Church, the Newlands Church, the Wentworth Church. I think even there by you, Frank, I think you were then worshiping in Trelawney. I think even you all came up with some donations as well at the time. And maybe there's some churches that I may not even remember, but there was quite a few churches, and we really appreciated their support. So,
Even
sorry, Frank, yes?
even Howick gave.
Yes, correct, exactly, even Howick, because there were even members from Howick, but we're going to get to all that. Yes, and Frank was part of this, the plans, but I don't know what happened. I think he wanted his Easter eggs in Howick instead of in Maluti. So that's why him and his wife didn't come with us. But nevertheless, it was the Easter weekend. It was one of my first Easter weekends going on a project like this to Lesotho. But nevertheless, we were ready and willing to go. These are some of the members that came with us. I'm sure some of you can even make them out. I think there's some guys from the Pinetown Church. There were people that came from Howick, Trelawney, Durban, Richards Bay, and other churches. It was powerful. Nevertheless, the day we were leaving, we all went up to the conference office. We were met there by the president. At the time, it was Pastor Ngwenya. He gave us T-shirts, conference T-shirts. He prayed with us. We got into the buses, and we made our way down to Lesotho. This is also part of walking. You can see the condition of the hospital floors. Now, you must know when the nurses used to go around delivering their medicines, these ended up like potholes. So sometimes even the medicines used to fall. And this is the gentleman, the short gentleman in the white shirt standing next to Joe, is the CEO. And there we're just taking some photos. So this is the laundry. But before we get to the actual hospital, what was fascinating about Joe's trip is that we were fairly armed and well prepared. Pastor Solomon's and some of the people had donations, and we made our way to the place. When we got there, they put all the guys in dormitories and all the girls in the dormitories. Then the families that went down all lived in the couples all lived in chalets on the property. Beautiful piece of estate, bought many years by GC, and we were almost jealous as South Africans that Lesotho had this beautiful hospital and we didn't have. A beautiful church on the property. And what was fascinating about this whole experience, we would have breakfast because they accommodated us. This was the agreement. They would accommodate us, and they would also feed us. And they cooked beautiful food, and the accommodation was fantastic. So we had our work cut out for us. And to our surprise, when we arrived there, there was a brother that came from I think it was from Pinetown Church. Him and his wife, they came up the Sani Pass, and I didn't really know him, but I met him there. He came with his family. They didn't even live in the accommodation. They pitched themselves tents. But what a beautiful Christian. What a nice guy. So let me tell you who was there. And I'm going to say it just the way it is. There were coloreds, there was whites, there was blacks, and there were Indians. There was husbands with their wives, and there was wives without their husbands, and husbands without their wives. There were teenagers, boys and girls that had left their parents and came on the project. There were pastors and even their family and their sons. And you'll see some of the pics. So we were a beautiful group, everybody willing to work hard, because obviously, with this particular project, you need people to come and make it happen. But I thank God because, talking about faith and talking about prayers and talking about works and talking about making it happen and doing things, I think this is what the Lord wants us to do. And it reminds us that we have to do it because he's coming. And sometimes we won't be able to get to people through opening the Bible and through a campaign, but maybe this is how we're going to touch people's lives. And this is how we get to people. So, okay, so I've got my supervisor here behind me, if you guys can see. So I'll be taking instructions from her. I went down on the first day after doing the assessments, we realized that there was stuff that we needed to buy. So myself and Brother Binti Connie from the Newlands Church made our way to the Build It in Lesotho, which was about 20 kilometers just away from the hospital. And so we had done the assessments with Joe Govender. We wrote down all the stuff we needed to buy. And then we picked our stuff and we went to the till. And this is now one of the many miracles. I shared the first one with you of the paint. Our journey was fantastic. We went through the borders without a hitch. We had a beautiful group of people, the cars and the vans and the buses that we had. There's about 35 of us in total. All were in one accord. We had a beautiful evening supper, and then we were advised or informed that prior to us, a week or two before that, there was a terrible storm, actually a flood, that ripped the hospital's water pumps that pumped water from the river, as well as a lot of piping from the hospital. And the hospital had a whole lot of JoJo tanks that used to actually salvage water from the roofs. And I walked over to those tanks and they were empty. So we're sitting with the crisis. But nevertheless, that night, we all get together. The family from, is it Pinetown or Pietermaritzburg arrives. We eat, and after we eat, we realize that if you're going to do building work, we need water. So the only place for us to go is on our knees. So we rally together in the mess hall after eating. We hold hands, and we ask this particular brother to pray. The brother from, I think, Pietermaritzburg Church, a white brother. And he prays. And the prayer is crispy. If you could grab it and snap it, you would actually hear the click sound. And as this man prayed for divine intervention and for rain and for water, or else all that we had planned was going to be in vain. We went to bed that night, believing that God would answer our prayers. And we slept about 9 o'clock that night. We were fairly tired from the trip. Beautiful countryside, lovely mountains, lovely people, humble people. And about 10 o'clock, they have these RBI galvanized sheeting roofs. We heard the pitter of the raindrops on the roof. And then it came down. Wow. You know, I laid in my bed and just smiled. It was unbelievable. You know, I got up in the morning. I got up fairly early in the morning. The first thing I done after listening to the beautiful sound of the rain, I went in the morning to the JoJo tanks. And I tell you, Frank, I'm about 1.7 meters high. If I lift my hand, I'm over 2.4 meters, 2.5 meters, almost 3 meters if I jump. Every tank was full. The tanks were so full, the water had fallen so much that one of our vans, we couldn't even get out. It was stuck in the mud. But God had answered our prayers. A blessing, fascinating. The guys get going in the morning. We have breakfast. We have devotion. We get going. When we get going, I take a walk to the entrance of the Maluti Hospital, and that's the previous photo that I showed you. This photo, this is the entrance. So the people in Lesotho, in this particular village, they come and they queue here. Where in front of Pastor Solomon's, that's the entrance. When the people come, on the right-hand side here with this telephone booth is the reception entrance, where the people come and get their card. When they get their card, they seat inside the building. They sit and wait. Inside the building, down one of the passages, very close to where the people collect before the doctors see them, is a podium and a whole lot of tracts on a shelf. And then, before the hospital does anything, they had a short brother there, one of the nurses or one of the staff. They take morning devotion. And they wait for everybody to come in. This is like 8:30 in the morning. So the doctors and nurses have their own devotion in their own quarters. And of course, they're given the instructions from the managers of the hospital. But all the patients that gather, the first thing they do after they take their cards, they sit down and a gentleman opens the word of God and preaches a powerful sermon and even makes an appeal, friend. And people with their crutches, some of them with their sawn off legs, and people that are hurt and injured, and mothers that are pregnant, and people that are coming to remove cataracts from their eye, give their hearts to the Lord and are touched even before the doctors start beginning to touch them, even before medicine and drugs even start working on these people. It was mind-blowing as we stood there, as we stood there and just sucked all this in. It was fantastic. We make our way that first morning, myself and Binti, we make our way down to town to the hardware store, and we want to buy some additional supplies. We want to buy some timber. We want to buy some cornices for the ceilings, some ceiling material, and this, that, and the other, nails and whatever. And we go into this builded hardware store, myself and Binti, and Binti is more in the building trade, knows exactly what we need. And Binti Connie, and he heads the purchasing. We come to the till, and I call for the manager. I say, why you want the manager? I say, I need to speak to your manager. We're paying cash. We're coming to make a serious purchase, and we want a discount. Frank, you won't believe it. Another answer to prayers. This is where we stretch the money. This is where we stretch the money. And I tell you, if you see Binti Conning, ask Binti Conning. Binti Conning almost fell when the gentleman, after the long story and the long and the short of it, I think if I'm not mistaken, if it weren't a 20% discount we got a 25% discount because we were South Africans on a mission trip, volunteering our time, money, and services to the Maluti Hospital. I think we walked out there with a 25% discount. We make our way back to the hospital. And then we start making it happen. This is one of the gentlemen that was also there. This is the condition of the hospital. Now, if you look at this hospital, you'll find, and you know, some this thing happened quite a while back, so some of the pics are lost. But you'll find out that some of the good laundry is contaminated with the dirty laundry. This is a disaster waiting to happen. This laundry would actually close the hospital down for all the good that it's doing. So this was one of the priorities where we needed to really go and do something for them. And there we start. So what we've done, because we went with, and we got support from the various churches, we even employed some assistance from the local community. And of course, at the same time, we're also doing a little bit of training, showing them how to mix the cement. So many bags of cement to so much stone for the foundation. And the bricklayers, we're going to teach them a little bit of this and that and the other. So we went down with intentions of doing quite a few things. Some of these brothers and sisters, this gentleman with the hat, with the yellow shirt, he's actually a missionary. He's from Europe somewhere, some Czechoslovakian country. The rest of us are South Africans, and then some of the guys in the back there are the people from Lesotho. There's Brother Joe. So this is outside the laundry. So what we're doing here, we're actually extending the laundry. Those two brothers in the back are from the Pinetown Church. You know what? We needed a plumber. In the 35, there was a plumber. We needed somebody to do electrical work. In the 35, there was an electrician. We needed somebody to fix the tractor. In the 35 of us, there was someone that could repair the tractor. We needed somebody to lay bricks. We had the bricklayer. It was unbelievable how the Lord had put the mix together, and we had no part of this. People came, as I said, as far as Richards Bay, Easter weekend, leaving their families behind. This is the beginning and the extension. And let me show you some more pics. This is the laundry, and we start. This sister here left her husband and came on this mission trip. And there we started now. The metal work, we started, we fabricated this in Durban, and we carried it along with us. This is some of the timber we bought locally and some of the timber that we found in the building. Yeah, you can already see, and my pics aren't as the story goes, so I'll just go backwards and forwards here and there. But if you look on the right-hand side and you look at the ceiling, you see there's new sections of ceiling we started installing already. But this up here, this black ceiling, was the color of these walls and the ceiling from the heat that came from the laundry, the washing machines and the tumble dryers. So yeah, we replaced some new sheeting, the two new sheets that we replaced. Okay, thank you. The sheets we replaced because the roof obviously had to get fixed, and then we changed those sheetings. So there's some of the brothers. The young man standing next to Gideon with the glasses is also from Peter Marisburg. Gideon's from Wentworth, and the gentleman Cyril on the right-hand side is from the Mayville Church. These are the two brothers that also came, and they just done anything and everything you asked them to do. Humble, just willing to work, willing to be directed. This is where we are preparing the foundations for the two classrooms we intended to at least kick it off, right? So yeah, we have already dug trenches. Our old man, this young man, old man here in the trench is from the Wentworth Church. Our brother there in the back with the blue is from Newlands' church, just recently, at the time, baptized and came on this mission trip. The young man on the left, I think he's from Pinetown or Trelawney. This is the gentleman that prayed, and this is his son. What we also done that was fascinating. So in the morning we would have breakfast and fellowship, a devotion, and then we would come out and start the project. So we had people in the wards, 4 wards. We were going to renovate, change ceilings, and fix the roof, and we were going to paint and fix the floor. 4 female wards. Then we were going to modify and renovate the laundry and extend the laundry. And then our intention was to start and kick off the 2 classrooms. And I think this was 6 or 7 days. And in the evening with Pastor Solomon's, we had a campaign in an unentered area about 25 kilometers from the hospital that we used to travel to every evening in a tent, and we used to park the bus on the road. because the entrance into this community was a mud road that you could barely drive through. And about a kilometer in the village, up this road, in this dark street, in this dark community with no light poles, there was a open patch, a grassy patch, about a kilometer from the highway, where the tent was pitched. And I'll show you pictures of the tent and the people that came. So we had it all. We had our work well planned and cut out for us. So this is the backside, and you can see the trenches on the side for the expansion to the laundry. These ladies work in the laundry, and the blue door is where we started our renovations. On the right-hand side where the step ladder is we are taking the geyser out of the roof, because that was causing the problem, and we're putting it outside. And you can see the gentleman actually busy with the planning to mount the geyser outside. So this is where we are now with the extension to the laundry. And when we left, we had taken this laundry up to roof height. So we had put the windows in, we had put the doors in. All they had to do when we left was, in the 5-6 days, was to put the roof on. This is everybody getting involved. There's our one brother. I think he's also in the ministry now. I think he's from the Howick Church, the tall gentleman on the left. The ladies had to fall in, fill water, carry water, open the taps, close the taps, and just support as well. What you see behind my wife, Beverly, standing there, is the residence in the Lesotho property. What a beautiful place. Your peaches grow massively big. Pomegranates, we were picking them off the tree. Ripe, beautiful pomegranates. Beautiful place, beautiful country. And this is the extension to the nurses' school. Apparently, the church was noted for its excellent training. In fact, we were told that there were South Africans that would come to Lesotho, Maluti Hospital, be trained as nurses. So it was a beautiful revenue stream for them, but of course they were short of space. So I'm sure when we left, we had put up 2 classrooms. I think that classrooms could have accommodated maybe 80 to 100 additional nurses that the Maluti Hospital could train. This is one of our brothers that I think worked as a caretaker for the KwaZulu-Natal Free State Conference. Shame he's late today, but he went down with us as well. You can actually see the colors of the wall and the colors of the ceiling. This was donated by Joe's cousin, Indian guy. So this is our Sabbath. And so where we had pitched our tent, where we held our campaign, this is where we spent the Sabbath. And yeah, we actually broken up for our lesson study. This is Joe's wife with the glasses. And yeah, we just basking in the sun in this village. So this is what this village looks like. It's just in the night, it's just light from the houses, but utter darkness when you leave the road, making our way. So this is where we pitched our little tent, and this is where we held a campaign. And I tell you, there were quite a few people that gave their hearts to the Lord. We were thankful for the family here in the back that provide us with lights in the evenings. We had one of the nurse sisters that opened up every evening with the song service. So we had a vibrant song service and beautiful preaching by one of our brothers, and a lot of people gave their hearts to the Lord with the efforts of these volunteers. This is one of the Sabbaths that we spent in Maluti. I think we were 2 Sabbaths, the one we spent at the campaign, and this is the one outside the church at the Maluti Hospital. These are some of the volunteers that were with us at the time. This is inside the Maluti church, where we worshipped with the staff and some of the members. The majority of the staff, the doctors, are all volunteers from Europe and from South America and North America. And a lot of them their parents were doctors and their parents were missionaries, and they became missionaries. But what was so beautiful about the hospital is not only did they feed us and accommodate us, but every one of us had the opportunity of going into witness an operation. So I went into theater and I watched a doctor perform the cataract scrape, removing of cataracts from the patient's eyes. But what a beautiful experience being inside the operating theater, watching our own doctors, and what a beautiful, proud moment that was for me. As this doctor would wheel in his patients, and he would work under these massive lights with all his sophisticated gear, and he would almost take the patients in their beds, right, and lay them like a petal leaves, 1, 2, 3, right, and then he would be on the one end, and he would bring his equipment and just move them over the one patient's face and get down and cut and scrape and remove the cataract. And when I was there, I witnessed 2 ladies and a male. And the way they do it when they remove the cataract, they do one eye at a time. And then the person goes home and heals, and then they come back and they do the next one. And I tell you, the testimonies of the people for the hospital, and so many people in Lesotho get converted just by what we as a church do. And that's the reason why, when I looked up, when I thought how I'm going to introduce, this experience, I thought I need to look at what is faith. And for me, what I found when I looked this up, faith is work. So me and you cannot continue being Christians and say that we're waiting for the coming of the Lord if we're doing nothing. We got to do something. We either need to start cooking, we need to start knitting, we need to do something. And especially where we live, and especially in and amongst our members. So this is the outside of the church, beautiful structure. Well, a couple of years ago, a lot of the funds came from North America and Europe when they established this place, but a beautiful place. And I was extremely jealous that an establishment like this we don't have in South Africa. This is the campaign, full. This is one of the chiefs, the guy with the stick, one of the main gurus in the community, and he attended. The children loved being there. That we actually went up to town and we bought them packets of chips and sweets, and so every evening, because of their faithful attendance, we would actually give them their suckers and their sweets and the chips, and they just loved coming and singing. And this sister done a crispy, beautiful song service. Every evening she was there, and the children would come and the people would come, and we had a beautiful time as we witnessed people getting to understand the message and people making decisions to accept the Lord. So this is the hospitals that we eventually, and you can see some of the outcomes of the hospitals, and you can see this ward has been painted, and we're starting to move everything back and putting things in its place. But you can still see still quite a bit of repair that needed to be done in the hospital. This is another pic of there's our brother. There's our brother in the red in the trenches with his sons in the back. I think maybe some of you guys may know who he is, but what a powerful, good Christian. Really someone that loves the Lord and really knows. Yes, Frank.
Eugene Fisser.
Eugene Fisser. Okay, good shot. Yeah, just interject, Frank. You know the names and you know the people. So yeah, you can do that. And he came with his whole family.
And the tall guy that you had in your one picture is Dave Olson. He's actually on the site tonight.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, Dave, good guy. My age, Frank, names. Yeah, but we worked well together. Beautiful, hardworking, loves the Lord. And we made some friends. We made friends for life there. You know, what a beautiful, lovely experience. So this is the passage, and we actually pushed the nurses out there to wait because we were busy in the wards, and they so appreciated just about everything we done. And everybody, my wife witnessed a cesarean section. She was in the operating theater, dressed in the operating outfits. And some guys actually witnessed somebody that had a stomach operation where his whole belly was out, and they saw just about all these things. And it was a beautiful. In fact, we were so rewarded. It was so beautiful that we didn't feel like, you know, it was taxing on us. This was just unbelievable. I will do it again and again. But let me also say this: we are going to do it again. We are involved with projects, and we're going to be involved with projects, and very shortly. So, you know, for those of you that are sitting here, you know, if you can't come and you can't make it, then we're going to ask you to dig into your pockets and support the effort. Because, you know, I don't believe that some of our churches are really equipped to even have our signs up on them. And so I'll show you some pics, maybe another time, Frank, of some of the renovations we done in other communities. You know, Joe was working out in Escort, and he came and shared with me that he met a group of people that are worshiping. Frank, I would honestly say to you, they were worshiping in something that most probably me and you would keep our cattle in. You know, the trusses for the roof was made from logs from a tree, branches of a tree. And with some support and help, we built them a beautiful church. Smallish, but beautiful. And maybe I'll even get a chance to show you some of those pics. But if not, maybe another time. But I don't believe that some of these people that hear our message, that go to these big, massive 1,000-seater churches in these beautiful domes with beautiful lights, are going to go and worship in a classroom. So, you know, if we believe that we have the truth, then I think we need to back it with some goods. And I think this is where collectively we can get involved and look at projects and support in more ways than one. Frank, you want to say something?
No, it's just, I love to hear the story of when other people benefit because of the help of some. And it's normally the people that do it that get the best benefit.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So this is one of the patients, and if you look at the crutcher, this is not your ordinary crutcher. This is a Maluti design crutcher. Look at it closely. This is a piece of, what is this? They use on the ceilings. What's Bunty would know the name. What is a piece of batten? This is a piece of batten. That's right. It's a batten. Correct, Bunty. Short. Thank you. It's a batten. This is the guy's crutcher. And so this is what they do there in that hospital. This is what they do. They do some big stuff, some great stuff. Not only do they have the hospital, they have about, in all the other areas, they have little clinics where these same doctors operate, and then on certain days of the week, they tour. They tour all around Lesotho to these clinics where they do the exact same things, little eye operations and little, fix aches and pains and extract teeth and organize glasses and fascinating. This was some of the conditions that we were up against. So this is a typical example of what the hospital looked like. This is the wards. This is the passages. This is just about everywhere. So this tells you not only do you have a problem with the ceiling, but you also have a problem with the roof. And of course, we had the brothers that were experiencing this type of repair. We had the material, we had the tools, we had it all. And that is because of what Joe done with the assessment. So that was a beautiful, so when we left there, Frank, I tell you, this place was looking spick and span. It was looking really good. There we go. We are, down here is a couple of wards. This is the passage. We had come already out of the wards. We had already painted the areas where the nurses operate down the passage. We're coming out of the passage into the other wards. And this is the passage where they would come. And you can see the red line on this wall. This is where they would come from the entrance down here and then wheel down into the wards. And we ended up painting, you can see that we're painting the sides there black, and then we painted the floor gray. Beautiful epoxy paint. So the walls were this cream, the ceilings was white, the walls were cream. We had this black and gray edging with a light gray epoxy paint on the floor. And of course, you know, a lot of the holes over the years that had generated, we fill up those holes with cement, and yeah, and then we painted it. So it looked really, really, really great, and something that we were proud of. This is the extension to the, as I said, to the laundry. And there's some more pics. I tried to just show pics of just about everybody that went on the program. So if anybody's watching, I hope they see themselves, and hopefully there's no too much favoritism of one and not the other. Yeah, so this is where we making it happen. Everybody shoulder to the plow. We actually even built a jungle gym for the kids. And our brother from the guy that prayed, Frank, you mentioned his name? He started that operation. Yeah, I'm listening.
Eugene.
Say it again. Eugene. I'll show you some pics of Eugene and his sons. They're getting involved with the swings and the slides and the jungle gym that we built for the kids with the tires. Beautiful, beautiful. So this is, yeah, this is where we are. You can see now, we've taken the geyser out and we've mounted the geyser. We had the brackets to mount the geyser. And our brothers from Pinetown, the two white brothers from Pinetown, you must have saw them in the church. They done all this. And we even put a little lean-to to protect the piping and the geyser from the elements. So we took it out of the laundry, and we pitched it out here, piped it all up, done all the electrical works. Powerful how the Lord just made it happen. This is a better pic of what we done in the laundry. This place, like you see in the bottom, this blue bucket, this is how the washing used to get kept. And you must know you had this dirty, contaminated washing. And alongside it, on the opposite side, you had the clean washing coming out. And some of them used to come out a year after washing and pushed on a wheelbarrow to the line outside because the tumble dryer weren't working fast enough. And the heat in here that caused this black on the right-hand side of the pick here in the middle of the pick, that is the actual color that we were, when we approached this place, the walls and the ceilings were black from the heat. And so we washed it all, and you can see here on the top, you still need to wipe and wash here, and then eventually start painting and bringing it back to what's actually accepted. So this is Solomon's son. I think he's a teenage boy. I think he even finished school in matric. He was a little boy then. So this is what, a good 10 years ago that we done this project. So this is a beautiful pic of the color of the, so, you know, really and truly speaking, the authorities could have closed this place down just because of this. But the appeal came to our conference, and it seemed like the Lesotho government was withdrawing or holding back their subsidy to the hospital. And this is how come the hospital got into this condition. And then they appealed to the conferences, and Pastor Solomons at the time, being the executive secretary, picked it up. We spoke about it, and I tell you, people just rallied together financially, support, efforts, their time, and just made it happen. Huh? And this is obviously the best time of the afternoon when it's supper. And yeah, these are some of the workers that worked for us, that we employed while we were there. And yeah, we used to make them come in and eat with us as well. Yeah, come join us and come enjoy the comforts. And those people can cook, and they really turned it on. We were well fed and catered for. This is a pic that shows the welder. We even had a welder. We had a welding machine. We're making it happen. There's some scaffolding that we put together, and we made a little jungle jump for the kids to climb, and put a tie in the middle. We had a swing on the other side and a slide on the other side. So yeah, we were just making it happen for this. This is another pic of the campaign. This is Pastor Solomon's, our brother Timothy, brother Binti there. And this is our foreign brother in the back with the black jacket standing up there. I think he was from Romania, something like that. And there we just enjoying, I don't know if this is lunch or breakfast or dinner. Yeah. So Frank, yeah, man, a beautiful, beautiful experience. But let me also share this with you. So we're busy in Lesotho. The first answer to prayers was that we all arrive safely. Second answer to prayers is that we get this massive discount. And then, of course, our brother's prayer, whereby he prays for water, and we get the water. Powerful, powerful, powerful. We say our goodbyes, our hugs and our kisses, and we prepare to leave. We get the guys out of the dormitories, the ladies out the dormitories, we pack our bags, we say a word of prayer, and we're making our way back home to the border. Some of the authorities at the border didn't notice when we came out that some of the papers weren't in order, but nevertheless, by God's grace, after praying with the president before we left, God really answered our prayers and we got through quite easily. Coming back at the border post, wanting to enter South Africa, there's a massive threat on the driver of the bus, the minibus that we got, because the papers aren't in order. And so we're stuck by the border now. You know what to do. And we're with the pastor, obviously. So nowhere else to go but go to the Lord. So Pastor Solomon says to everybody in the bus and those that are around there now, it's time to pray. Let's get together. But the authorities got the driver. How did you come through? How are you going to get this, that, and the other? The papers are not in order, and there's a whole lot of issues. And the guy's getting aggressive. And we're trying to, it's a mission trip. We just come out to the Maluti hospital. We done this and this. This guy's getting nothing. So Pastor Solomon gathers everybody together around the bus, and they move away from the bus and they take it up, and he begins to pray. Another understanding, another seeing how fast God can answer prayers. And while Pastor Solomon's and the group is praying, this gentleman from nowhere identifies that someone is praying, because everybody's heads bowed and there's only one person that's probably mumbling as he views this. And this guy's a Christian, but he's also one of the main chiefs at the border post. And he makes his way out from I don't know where to the group. And Pastor's just about completely praying, and he chastises Pastor. And he says, how is it that you can pray with this group without including him? And so Pastor says, well, we're praying because we have this crisis. And Pastor shares with him exactly what happened. And this is the Mano. This is the oil that's carrying all the pips. And he goes down. He says, no, this can't happen. So Pastor explains to him what we're doing there, how we got in, how we're going out, and we're on our way home. And this is what we've done at the hospital for the Lesotho people. And I tell you, man, 2 ticks. Things were open, and there was an answer to prayers. He gave the instruction, let these people go through, don't hold them up, sort them out. These are Christians, good people, just worked in the Maluti hospital. And I tell you, it was another answer to prayers. We returned home, everybody to their homes and to their families. It was sad seeing everybody go. As we made our way down from Pietermaritzburg, people got off We hugged and kissed and said goodbyes and got to, before Pietermaritzburg, Howick, Pietermaritzburg, Pinetown, and eventually we got home down to the Bluff. And I shared my I shared this similar experience with others, and I shared it with my family. And my boys that thought this is not for them, they want to know, Dad, when we're doing this again. They felt cheated because they also wanted to do something like this. So I just thought that I'll share this with you, Frank, and your group, just to encourage people that as Christians, we can't sit on the wayside, because faith must work. Faith must produce. Faith must be visible. Faith is not mental, and faith is not verbal, because that's insufficient. Faith without works cannot be called faith. I want to thank all the brothers that are watching, that were there with us, that made this thing possible. And we're going to call upon them, because I know they'll be eager and willing to get up and start this again. Just to inform you all that ASI is up and running and alive in KwaZulu-Natal. At the moment, ASI and its members are busy with 2 or 3 projects. There was a sister in Pietermaritzburg, a black sister in Pietermaritzburg, that lived in a mud house. And a couple of months ago, when we had that terrible storm, the house collapsed on them. So ASI has built that lady a house, and that was the first phase. She's in it, hollow block, with wood and a steel roof, with windows and doors, and her and her family safe. She's a new Adventist convert. And so we're building the second phase. We're planning to build the second phase soon. It's just COVID that's hindering us, but we've just had a meeting. We're also renovating and expanding the Bluff Church in Wentworth, a large white community, almost unentered, because there was no Adventist church there. So the Adventist church bought a nursery and converted the nursery into a church. So ASI is busy with that project, quite a big one. And so, yes, man, you know, we need to get together and put our little bobs and our little experiences and our little talents together and make it happen. Because faith must work. Faith must produce. Faith must be visible.